Hey, well, good morning. Welcome to another Sunday, Open Pagan Church. Hello there. Well, we're just now 9:30 a.m. Central Time. We'll give people another minute, I guess, to kind of come alive and see how their day is going to be. We are Open Pagan Church live here most every Sunday that we can here on Facebook on our Open Pagan Church page. Um, our archives are uploaded to YouTube. And if you like it, click like. If you don't, click don't. Comments. We're relatively open minded people. We like positive and negative comments, optimistic and pessimistic comments, and realist comments. That's our topic for the day. What are we going to be talking about? Well, we're going to be talking about negative, positive, optimistic, and pessimistic. We're also going to be talking about realist. I find myself a realist. I tend to balance both sides. And I know that there were a couple of people that wanted to be here this morning, so give them a minute or two and see if they want to pop in. And let's see. Yeah, sometimes you'll see me quit talking and look down at the keyboard. You would think at after 30 years of typing and doing different things on a keyboard, I would be able to touch type. Not going to happen. I still look at the stupid keyboard. So let's see. All right. So off we go. What is? We first need to understand what is negative, positive, what is optimistic, pessimistic, and what is a realist. Well, let's talk about each one of these in sequence. Negative. I'm not talking about negative charge on a battery. I'm talking about people that live in a constant negative atmosphere. Now, I'm not even talking about negative thought processes. The negative thought processes and someone that always poo poos every idea, someone that always says, oh, that's only going to fail, that's a pessimist. Someone that only sees the bad, the failure, something that's not going to make it, something that's not going to work. Why bother? I'm only going to fail anyway. That is pessimistic. Negative is much like pessimistic, except it's more of a thought process. It's more of a conveyance of energy. You've been around these people that just have that kind of weird, off, negative energy. There's never a smile. There's never anything on their face but a scowl. And the one thing I want to make sure you understand is, as pagan, most every pagan I know is a reader in one way or the other. They embrace the ability to read energy, body language, attitudes, and what have you. When I meet people that are extremely um, negative energied and pessimistic in their thought processes, it almost intrigues me to get to know more about them because I want to know where that come from, what happened to them to cause it to come about to begin with, what causes negative thought processes, what causes pessimistic behavior, pessimistic ideas, and probably the hardest thing in the world. Now, luckily, by the grace of the gods, I've never been stricken with a um, seriously debilitating illness. Yeah, okay. I have 24/7 back pain. I have leg cramps and restless leg, and um, I have chronic tooth pain, for which I don't have a whole lot of teeth left. But I am nowhere near stricken with a complete debilitating illness. One that just essentially sucks the life out of you to the point where it's deadly. A terminal illness. One of the biggest creators of negative and pessimistic life is being stricken with a terminal illness or a debilitating illness of one kind or another. It can completely it can completely destroy you. And someone's logged in posting under Open Pagan Church. They didn't change their name, I guess. That's okay. Beat cancer twice here. Rock on. These are the people that they can go flip side one way or the other. But if we talk about, and I don't want to spend way too much time on negative and pessimism, because we kind of know what can cause some of that, right? Life decisions. Let's talk about some of the things that perpetuate. Oh, okay. Hi, Cindy. Let's talk about some of the things that can perpetuate negative and pessimism. Like I said in the opening text there on the page, choices. Choices we make in life that we get caught up in cause and effect. Our own cause, thereby having a profound effect on us. Other people's choices. These are things that most of the time, you just really can't control. Folks with HIV, for example, full blown AIDS, if you will, they may have gotten caught up in someone else's choice, thereby contracting a very debilitating, very deadly disease. Same way with any of the other um, influenza, the hepatitis viruses of all different sorts. And I can go on and on about how we as people living our lives on a daily basis, doing the things we do, really not doing anything to anyone one way or the other. And all of a sudden, smack upside the face, we get smacked with someone else's choices. Now I'll tell you, that can really make you angry. You go through the phase of being scared, angry. You want payback. You want somebody to pay for what they did to you. I get it. But at the same time, I'm not going to pretend to know how you feel or understand. I can empathize for sure. Now let's go now to the extremist. Once again, folks, we're extremists. Human beings, they are all about this extremist behavior. They are extremely angry, or they're extremely happy, or they're extremely sad, or they're extremely upbeat, or they're extremely low beat, negative, what have you. Human beings at the core, at a natural, are extremist. Me being in the path I'm in, I seek balance. And I try very hard in open pagan church to not to not come off as a shaman so much as a pagan minister, someone that embraces and encompasses and tries to understand all formative paths and denominations of paganism. It's not my job to come at those who come to open pagan church as a shaman and scratch my head and say, really? Have you lost your mind? No. Good thing people can't read my mind, right? So let's go to the flip side of the coin. Positive, optimistic. And this kind of opens the door for me to slide in the other thought process of fake it till you make it. I'll say that again in case you missed it. Fake it till you make it. This is something that more and more people are doing on a daily basis at all times just to be able to survive in their day to day work and day to day responsibilities and day to day family responsibilities. And that is, you crawl out of bed and you find a smile and you duct tape it to your face. You squash down the pain, the anxieties, the fear, the anger, the negative, and you start your day. Well, I have a thought process about that, and I totally get it. I I have a job. My job changed a year and a half ago, and I now, unfortunately, on a daily basis, have to walk into my job, put a smile on my face, and fake it. I'm not going to fake it till I make it because it doesn't make any difference in a lot of situations. How big a smile you put on your face, how much you don't let people know that you're angry, you're tired of the situation, and you're in pain. It doesn't make any difference how much you fake it till you make it. Makes other people feel better about themselves. They don't have to look at you and go, "Are you okay?" No, I'm really not. I'm really having a bad day. At work, I come across with, "I'm okay. I managed to get out of bed this morning under my own power and ate breakfast, walk out to my vehicle, and make it to work under my own power. I'll take it. I'll take it." Therein lies from fake it till you make it to a realist thought process. I'm trying real hard not to get ahead of myself here because we got to go steps with this. How many people do you know that are overly optimistic? How many people do you know that are overly optimistic? These are these people that, irregardless of what happens, what goes on, they squash, they suppress, they hide anger, pain, anxieties, things that are natural human emotions. Now, before those of you that are extremists that are going to be watching this video and go off on me going, well, what do you expect me to do? Just let the whole world know I'm pissed? Well, hang on a second. I've got a bit of a comeback on that. Yeah. If you are a 24/7 unrealistic optimist, and I'm going to say unrealistic optimist, there are those people that look at people that are in pain, continuous, constant, and they almost get angry at them. Well, I just don't understand why you're so angry all the time. What's the big deal? You need to be grateful you're alive. You were able to take another breath. You should be happy and bouncy and find that positive energy, and everything negative happens, there is an equal and opposite positive. Okay, I get it. For every positive, there's an equal and opposite negative. For every negative, there is an equal and opposite positive somewhere. We may not see it, we may not feel it, and we may not understand it, but it's out there. But people that are stricken with whatever um, negative issue that they're going through, whether it's health, emotional, psychological, physical, sexual, spiritual, any of the five human elements that I base my philosophies on, they may not give a damn to see the optimist or the positive. Okay, I get that too. But do you not understand that being overly pessimistic and bouncy and giddy around someone who is terminally ill is going to have an adverse effect on their psychological and emotional well-being? Let's think about that. Now, I'm not telling you they want you to pity them. Not in the least. Not at all. Not at all. The last thing a terminally ill individual wants is pity. And, it's like Cindy said, positive in, positive out. Now again, and I want to make sure we make ourselves clear, my particular thought process of positive out, positive in, positive in, positive out is a shaman thing. It's not necessarily Wiccan, witchcraft, fae, druid, whatever your path is. You may not get that. You may not have been trained that way. You may not have been taught that way, and that's okay. But what I'm coming at with this topic, negative, positive, optimistic, and pessimistic, what I'm getting at by this topic in the pagan community is finding a balance, finding some sort of balance that can give you hope where there is none, that can give you balance where you may have thought none existed. And I am definitely not one of these ministers that's going to look at you through this screen and say, praise God, through Jesus, all is possible. No. I will tell you that as a pagan minister, your deity, whichever deity you follow, and there's thousands of them, should be important to you. You should give thanks where thanks is due. Feel free to ask questions where questions are due. Don't expect an answer right away because deity tends to answer in its own time, and they tend to answer with more of a visual or emotional or a feeling type answer rather than sending you an email. Deity's not going to send you an email. Um, they may send someone else to send you an email, perhaps with some help, an idea, a good friend, someone that you might be able to lean on their shoulder to help you get to the doctor, to help you take care of things around the house if you're debilitated. And so you may ask deity for help, but human beings tend to expect in your face help. For some reason, most humans think that deity is going to come down to your kitchen chair and sit down, look at you, and go, okay, here's your answer. Hey, if anybody's ever had that, more power to you. I've never been that lucky. But one of the things that I think we need to remember is extremist behavior is not healthy. Extremist negative, extremist positive, extremist optimistic, extremist pessimistic. Any extremist behavior is not healthy for you or the ones around you, your loved ones, people who are your friends, um, people you may be in a relationship with, your partner, or whatever. Well, I screwed that up. Come on, Don, get with it. Ah ha ha. I just shut the air completely off on my vape instead of turning it down. Hmm. Mind your ears. Much better. Vape and coffee. Vape, coffee, and Dr. Pepper. Just don't get no better than that. And yes, if you're looking for posts and you're watching the live feed on Facebook, Facebook no longer auto scrolls the text. You have to watch for your scroll bar and scroll up because Facebook has gotten stupid and no longer auto scrolls the live feed. So stepping back for a second from our opening explanation of our topic, as we always do, we know that extremist behavior is not healthy. We know that overly optimistic can be detrimental to someone who is terminal. Someone who's really having a bad time in life, yes, you can kind of help them see the good side, right? But what I suggest you do, first and foremost, and this is something that people just really don't like doing, but I'm going to suggest it anyway. Listen. I'll say that again. Shut up and listen. When you tell someone, I'm willing to help you, I'll be an ear. Maybe I can give you some advice. Maybe I can give you some ideas. Maybe do a little research for you to help you through these bad times. Well, the first thing most people want to do that are in this position, and the position of negative pessimism, a lot of times people want others to do it for them. Now, I'm not talking about things you can't do, physically can't do, right? Um, the shape my body's getting in, there's just simply things I physically can't do anymore. Sometimes I have to reach out and ask someone, I don't ask them if, can you help me do this? I tell them, I can't do this anymore. Can you do it for me? Because I'm not going to ask somebody to help me do something and then have them doing it for me. You see where I'm going here? So if you reach out for help, make sure you make yourself clear when you're asking for help. I can't do this. Can you do it for me? I'll help where I can, but other than that, I'm going to be relatively useless. And if you're telling someone, I will help you, then be there. If you tell somebody I'm going to help you, show the hell up, right? If you tell somebody I'm going to do something, do it. Don't tell somebody you're going to do something and then all of a sudden, oh, well, I've got a picnic with the family, or oh, I'm going over here, or well, I promised the friends I'm going to go out to the bar and get shit-faced drunk that night because, well, I just don't have time to help you even though I said I would. It's time for me to go out and get drunk. What you're doing is you are feeding their negative pessimistic behavior because that's going to breed the extremist mindset of why the hell bother? People are only going to tell me they're going to be here and then not. People tell me they're going to be there for me and then not. When people reach out on the internet or wherever, on the phone or text or whatever for help, I tell them straight up, I will be there where I can. There are some things I may not be able to do. I'm not going to tell somebody, reach out to me 24/7. I'll be there for you. I have a job. I have a family. I have parents that need me, need my help. They need our help, my family's help. We need their help sometimes. So if you reach out and I tell you, I'm sorry, I've made plans with my parents this weekend. I'm sorry. I've already told you I'll be there where I can. Um, but what this does is this builds a realistic expectation of people. Right. We're halfway through our broadcast. So there's our explanation of negative positive, optimistic, and pessimistic. Well, what do I do, you ask? If you're telling me you don't want me to be pessimistic or negative, and you don't want me to be optimistic or positive, what the hell do you want me to do? Why, it's not about what I want you to do. I'm just coming up with ideas. I'm coming up with descriptions and terms of words that we use on a daily basis. And I'm giving you the idea of how I try to live and my thought processes and how I move along. Do I have negative days? Days? Abso-freaking-lutely. Do I have days where I am a pessimistic SOB from hell? Absolutely. Everybody, everywhere, has bad days. How can we change that? Remember, some time ago I did a video on abusive relationships. And in that conversation of those abusive relationships, I have always said the only way you can change other people's behavior is to change your reactions to that behavior. And I'll say that again. The only way you can change others' behavior is to change your reactions to that behavior. And the same way goes with life. I have known many people through the years who have been stricken with debilitating diseases, chronic diseases, um, terminal diseases, cancer, multiple different types of cancer, cancer that eventually took them away from this life. And these people found a balance. Even though they were scared to death, they were angry, they embraced the anger, they embraced the fear, and that's the whole key that I'm trying to make to this entire topic. Anybody get that? That's the whole key I am trying to make to this entire topic. Embrace the fear. Fear is a natural, normal emotion. The anger that you're going to have from being stricken with, diagnosed with, and living with whatever it is going on. Homelessness, out of work, diseases, the bad things that happen to us in life. We have to acknowledge those negative emotions. We have to acknowledge and embrace those negative emotions, go through them, live through them, and make the decision, and I say again, make the decision whether or not we're going to live in a constant state of negative, pessimistic, emotional behavior. And I'm not telling you not to live in any way, shape, form, or fashion. What I'm telling you is it's not healthy to live in a negative, pessimistic, emotional, psychological atmosphere. I'm also telling you that it is not healthy to live in a strictly only optimistic, positive atmosphere. If you live only in a positive, optimistic atmosphere, you never learn to deal with life. You never learn to deal with the life that goes on outside of your walls. Well, what the hell else is there, you might say? What about realist? What is a realist? What is realist? Well, well, a realist is someone that takes all of it. Okay, we take the things that could happen that are bad. We take the hopeful, positive outcome, right? Say I'm going to. Here's a good one. Um, last week before last, sorry, week before last, we took the Sunday off. I took 2 days off work for us to put a new roof on my Jeep. And if you want to see how it come out, look on my Facebook page. But we put a new roof on my truck. Now, as a realist, I took everything that could possibly go wrong that I could think of and I jotted it down. I put everything positive that I could possibly think of, I jotted it down. And then in the middle, what did I put in the middle? I put in the middle my hopeful outcome, my realist outcome. The realist takes the possibility of the negative, the possibility of the positive, and says, this is how I get an acceptable outcome. The realist says, okay, I acknowledge the negative, I acknowledge the positive, and I want to take a look at my capabilities, the things I'm able to do, my knowledge of what it is I'm working on. And some may say, good morning, some may say that how would a realistic thought process work with someone that's terminally ill, someone that has a debilitating disease, someone that's homeless, someone that is without work? Well, I will tell you, the almost 3 years that I was out of a job, the only thing that kept me going, other than my family and friends, of course, the only thing that kept me going is my realist philosophy. My realistic philosophy of, I know the negative. I'm older. I'm more experienced than a lot of hiring managers may want. I'm not a pretty boy. Oh boy, I'm not a pretty boy. I'm not clean shaven and looking good with lots of muscles and 6 foot tall and 190 pounds, built like a brick house. And you know, a lot of corporate America nowadays wants a pretty boy with a little bit of intelligence, but they want somebody pretty, either a pretty boy or a pretty girl that's going to make a good first impression. Their idea is, I will program you to do what I want you to do. A realist looks at it and says, okay, in order for me to achieve this particular outcome, I have to be willing to do this and this and that. I have to be willing to change certain thought processes so that when I walk in for an interview, I don't walk into the interview and poo-poo it before I ever walked in the door. So that I don't say things that I know are going to have a negative outcome on that interview. The pessimist is notorious for cutting their nose off to spite their face. The optimist is notorious for overselling themselves in an interview, over accentuating how good they are. Um, Walking into an interview all bouncy and happy and smiles and, you know, I am so blessed to be here. I am ready to do this job. Just put me to work and here we go. It's all going to be beautiful. I know everything you're talking about and everything there is to know. And the optimists have oversold themselves. A realist says, I'm going to walk in, I'm going to shake their hand. Nice to meet you. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to see me. And listen. Listen. Shut up and listen. Listen to the interviewer. Listen to the hiring manager. The realist wants to listen to everything that's going on, everything that's being said, evaluate and analyze what needs to be said, and say that. In life happens, and I'm not a firm believer in shit happens, right? Everything comes from momentum from something else somewhere. Somebody said something that snowballs and becomes something else. Somebody did something that snowballs and becomes something else. We may get hit with that freaking snowball, right? We pray they don't, but if somebody was to bomb Dallas with a nuke, I'm sorry, Princeton and McKinney and surrounding areas would be flattened like a pancake. We would be the momentum outcome of somebody else's actions. Now, if I was a pessimist with negative energy and negative behavior, I could take that entire thought process, wind myself up into a complete and utter frizzy. Oh my God, what if? If I was a specific, strict, positive energy optimist, I would say that's never going to happen. That's not going to happen to me and mine. I know it's never going to happen, so I don't even need to think about it. A realist says, sure, it's a possibility some sick, twisted SOB could perform that action, thereby me and my family would become a casualty of someone else's actions. So, do you understand the idea of a realist? You find that balance. There's got to be a balance in there somewhere to say, I accept and I understand the negative pessimistic ideology. I accept and I understand the optimistic positive ideology. I want to bring those together and look at them and find a balance for myself and look at it from a realistic point of view. And let's take something that might make it a little more sense, right? Perhaps a nuke was a little extremist. Let's use Here we go. Let's use my teeth and my need for false teeth and oral surgery, for example. The pessimist in me says, why bother? Insurance isn't going to cover it. I'm not going to be able to come up with the 15 grand that it's going to take to cover what insurance won't. So why bother? The optimist in me says, keep fighting it, keep going for it, keep making phone calls, keep trying to search and research because people in worse shape than yourselves financially get false teeth every day. How the hell do they do it? I don't know. The realist in me says, okay, I understand how the insurance companies work. I understand how my income works. Thereby, I'm not going to be able to shit that kind of money. But I also balance that with the understanding that people in worse income shape than myself get it done on a daily basis somehow, some way. We just got to be able to figure that out. How the hell are they doing it? Where are they getting it done? And I just keep hammering on it. The realist in me allows me to be able to accept the possible outcome while hoping, while hoping for a good outcome. That's a realist. The realist takes, a realist takes the measure of things and looks at where it's going, where it could go, where you want it to go, and whether or not you can steer it one way or the other. A realist says, I get it. A pessimist says, I don't want to get it because it doesn't matter. An optimist says, I get it. I understand. I may not know anything about it, but I understand. I'll know it. I need to know it. I will know it. You need to find a smile because there's a better day. And we see this a lot. When you're trying to find that balance and you're trying to figure out what it is that you can do to make things a little better for you, you have to be willing to stop. And there's that magic word again, stop. Stop the momentum that you're on. Take a deep breath, stand back, take another look at the situation with open eyes. If the situation's not working and things are not working, is it worth it to you to keep trying to make it work? What are the outcomes? What are the positive and the negative outcomes? Keep an open mind. If you want to work on becoming a realist, you have to be able to acknowledge the good and the bad, the positive and the negative, the pessimistic and the optimistic ideologies. Be able to bring it all in and set it on the table. Take you a piece of paper, open a Word document, open a spreadsheet, I don't care, and tag one column of cells positive, tag another column of cells negative, tag another column of cells hope. Folks, as hard as it may seem sometimes, never lose hope. Hope is what keeps the human going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny. Never lose hope. Hope is that supporting mechanism of the realist that says, I have to keep hope. And I could go into um, the whole thing of faith. I could go into how faith can actually help you with hope, how you can find balance between positive and negative. But we all know that hope gives us strength to go forward to the next day. So when you're dealing with someone that is terminally ill, it can be drawing on you. You know, it can cause you to have some issues because it is draining to deal with someone who's terminal. When you look at someone and you say, I try to keep an upbeat attitude. Well, you definitely don't want to go into a terminally ill individual's home and just throw a party willy nilly without them knowing what's going on because you may get your ass thrown out. But being a realist, we look at things from a balanced idea, a balanced philosophy. So back on our spreadsheet again, when we have something we're going to do, like, I don't know, build a house, build a room, remodel, remodel a bedroom. You may want to repaint your bedroom, or like we did, put a roof on my truck, you know. I'd never worked with fiberglass in my life, not in this capacity, or Bondo, body filler. So sit down, the negatives, the things that could happen that would be really bad, the positives, the things that could happen that could be really good, and then hope, the hopeful outcome of the job at hand. You take the negatives and you say, what do I do to keep that negative from happening? And over across from that negative, you put your idea of something you can do to keep that negative from happening. And there are things that are going to happen. You know, when I was working on that roof, I screwed up 3 or 4 batches, either too much hardener, not enough hardener, um, didn't mix it long enough, mixed it too long, and it went off while I was mixing it. It's things you have to learn. So, in our topic today, we've talked about negative, positive, optimistic, and pessimistic, and the fact that humans are extremist at the core. Humans, for some reason, possess an extremist behavior that makes us think I either have to be all of this or all of that, and I have to go hard left or hard right. I guess it goes back to kind of being Democrat or Republic. Oh my God, I don't want to open up that conversation. You have people that are hardcore Democrat, you have people that are hardcore Republican, libertarians, and blah, de blah, de blah. What about just being a good person? What about acknowledging the realist philosophy of I can see the good and bad in you, I can see and the good and bad in me, and I can embrace that, and it's cool. We can hang out, we can be friends, but you have to be able to embrace the good and bad in everybody. If you only look at somebody's negative, that's all you're going to see. If you only look at somebody's positive, that's all you're going to see. So, some of the way that we can embrace this is to stop and listen. Watch their body language, look at their behavior, the way they act and react with other people, with society, the way they treat themselves. Um, take a look at the way you act and react, the way you treat your family and those around you. Are you acceptive, open to other people being different than yourselves? Or are you more pessimistic and negative in the idea that if someone is different than yourself, you can't like them? If their ideas are different than yours, do you have to chastise them and make them feel bad about themselves? The pessimistic, optimistic conversation doesn't just start with the positive and negative in life. It has everything to do with the way we see people, the way we treat people, the way we treat ourselves, and the way we interact with society. Think about that as you go through your daily life. I'm not telling you to be a realist, but I am giving you the idea of what a realist is. I'm not telling you that you're a bad person if you're a pessimist, though I am telling you that it's not healthy. And I'm not telling you that it's bad to be optimistic and positive. Absolutely not. I am telling you that if you don't find a balance, to be an extremist one way or the other is not healthy for you or those around you. Again, we are Open Pagan Church. We're here for everyone. We look forward to your comments, your thought processes, and your ideas. If you like us, click like. If you don't like us, click dislike, and by God, tell us why. I'm all for it. How about you? Have a great day. Thank you for watching. Right here, we'll see you next time on Open Pagan Church.